How's it going, everybody? Season 8 of Cosmic Crucible is coming very, very soon. Tonight, in fact, so you got to get your defenses up. In this video, I'm going to be talking through my mindset when it comes to defense, at least for the start of Season 8. I think it's going to change dramatically once the Old Man Logan payouts are done. There's your spoiler for the whole video. But we're going to tell you about all the teams I'm using, where I'm using them, and why, and how I'm going to counter them on the offensive side. Because I do think this is going to be a very offensive-heavy week. But before we get into that, a word from my favorite sponsor, Into the AM. I'd like to give a huge thanks to today's sponsors, Into the AM. You guys know I rock with Into the AM. On streams, you always see me in their graphic tees or their hooded sweatshirts. I love these things. They're so comfortable. But it's summertime and things are starting to get warmer, so I had to look for other things to wear. Luckily, Into the AM has these amazing new relaxed button-ups and daily shorts for us to partake in. They are beautiful. They are comfortable. I already wore it to my son's baseball game. Turning heads and feeling comfortable. You can't ask for more than that. Well, it gets better than just having an amazing product. They're also going to have an amazing sale. So from right now to May 29th, they have a 30% off site-wide sale. So you can check out all your favorite graphic t-shirts, sweatshirts, and now the amazing relaxed button-ups and daily shorts. I can't wait to go ahead and upgrade my summer collection, so I make sure when I'm at the beach, when I'm at the water park, wherever I'm at with my kids, I'm going to be looking good and feeling comfortable while doing it. You should too, so go ahead and check out Into the AM using code DORKY for an additional 10% off. That's going to give you a total of 40% off. That's amazing, guys. Go ahead and check out Into the AM. I'm going to leave you with their quote, "Stay inspired." Alright guys, so here we are in game. We're just going to break this down room by room. So for Field Medic, on turn, clear vulnerable from self and heal for 20% of the max health for each vulnerable affected removed this way. Characters with vulnerable gain 25% decreased resistance, and of course the global rules apply where Cabal are considered Masters of Evil, or sorry, Master of Evil are counted as Cabal characters. No, Cabal counted as Masters of Evil, and then they gain the extra health, the extra damage, and exhaust is in play. Well, the team that I'm going to use here is the same team that we saw running rampant in the tournament. That's going to be the Mercs for Money team with Noir. The reason for this is quite simple. I don't think Spider Society is going to hold up well because there's going to be this new team that I think is going to come out and just be the go-to counter for Spider Society. So I don't need to kind of lean into them too much. And I do think Noir is going to make the opponent have to take this room seriously because this is on the playtest right now. So this 7/7 Old Man Logan, this is not what mine looks like, right? Mine is actually geared to 19, but he's 5 yellow, 2 red. But I brought him into Dark Dimension 7. And even though he's not bugged anymore like he is on the playtest here, he still takes a bazillion turns if he gets to get going. And Noir is going to help him do that. Now, as far as ISO goes for Old Man Logan, I don't have it equipped here right now, but definitely a striker, and I'm going to have a bunch of raiders. Deadpool will probably be a striker, but I don't even think Deadpool's going to take a turn. I don't think he's going to matter besides giving 40% revive chance to the Panda pool. Even at the low star levels, Old Man Logan is going to be a big enough threat that the opponent has to take it seriously, but he's still going to die very quickly. So as soon as your opponent can get ahead of them, it's going to die very quickly. So Noir is going to help kind of cancel out the super efficient counters to that. Because even at his low level, if he does get going, it's a problem. And Noir will help him get going against teams like an Eternals hybrid team or like a Wakanda team or something silly like that. So yeah, I'm going to be putting Noir in here just to kind of help with that. It's going to make it pull probably a New Warriors, maybe a big Tangled Web, maybe, I don't think Death Seed would work here, but maybe Death Seed would actually work here. I'm not sure. We're going to have to wait and see, but this is why it's not turtle time yet. It's not turtle time yet because Old Man Logan is going to be dying fairly quickly. But when he's not dying, then we're probably going to juice this team up. Maybe we're going to throw in like a Cosmic Ghost Rider who's going to be giving that barrier. Maybe we'll throw Black Knight in here to try and make sure we pull the Cabal team. All I know is we're not going to be putting Skrull here because then we're putting too much eggs in one basket. But this is going to be my team choice for Stage 1. But they could have very well went into Stage 2 as well, because Stage 2 is going to be on-turn gain bleed, and this would activate the Old Man Logan passive. Enemies with bleed and you with bleed, you're going to gain 5% damage per bleed, but when you also apply the bleed, you're going to gain defense up. Well, the team I'm going with here might surprise you. I'm just doing Spider Society, and I'm going to be doing it with Spider-Woman. She's a Hero Spider-Verse character, and let me tell you why I'm not trying to juice this team up. Why I'm not putting, like, Dormammu in her spot to replace Noir, or Black Knight, or whatever the case may be. During the Envoy tournament, I used the team Lizard with New Warriors. And it was so incredibly smooth. I think that's going to be the go-to team to just destroy everything Spider Society, unless it's got something crazy in it, like a Skrull or an Apocalypse, right? In which case, your opponent's offense is going to be taxed, and I think there'll still be a pretty interesting, easy way to counter that, and it would probably have to do with, like, Apocalypse, Lizard, New Warriors, something like that. It would still happen on a budget, is my point, so I'm not too worried about trying to juice this team up just yet. They go quickly. They're going to be getting cleanses from the Penny Parker, so I'm not too worried about those bleeds stacking up, even though they increase our damage. This is just going to be an annoying team that is going to at least pull something of value. It's probably going to pull that New Warriors Lizard team, which I think is good enough because that'll protect our Old Man Logan team, and then I'm not losing anything from the offensive side. Though, if you wanted to get real technical here, if you don't put Noir with your like Mercs for Mouth team, or you don't put Noir anywhere else, him plus the Spider Society team, they're really good on offense. They can take out things like Extreme or like Extreme Dorm. It's pretty insane what the Spider Society team is actually capable of. But I'm going to throw them in 2 for now. There's other characters I thought about putting in 2. Like, I thought about putting Robbie in 2 because the bleed is activating his speed bar when the enemy takes a turn. I thought about putting Skrull in there for the exact same reason. I assume that when you get a bleed, it's going to give Skrull speed bar. But we're going to have to wait and see how that one goes. So I do think there's going to be some more interesting options in this room eventually. But again, for now, until we have the bigger Old Man Logan, I think I'd rather keep it this way. Also, I should have said this earlier, the vulnerables getting cleared from the Old Man Logan just going to kind of help him survive a little bit more at his smaller rate. Another reason to keep him into stage 1, but that room could become a flex room. Then we get stage 3, so on successful hit, if target has exposed, perform a basic attack against that target, and characters with exposed are going to lose 20% resistance. I think this is just going to be the Extreme room. So I have Extreme with Dorm here, so no Gambit in this room. This is a decent team. It's going to pull like a Masters of Evil or like a Masters of Evil Apocalypse. They got to juice it up a little bit if you have a big Extreme team and they have a small Masters of Evil team. I really, really like how this is going to pull something like that, which will then kind of nerf the Cabal a little bit, and you get to go from there. This room is not meant for Skrull, because unless you do something like the Jutsi team, which I am struggling to possibly use in a different room later. Unless you're doing that where you're putting Skrull with a team that has like no buffs on spawn or like just one buff on spawn, it's really difficult to stop the Skrull mirror matchup, or to just not get Caballed, and then they'll use their Skrull to beat the crap out of your Mercs for Money team, right? And that's going to be the fine line we need to balance right now. Regardless, though, I don't think Skrull is going to go in this room anyway. This is just going to be the Nightcrawler room because he's got exposed. Maybe we eventually start putting Old Man Logan in here for a little bit of a fresh feel. Again, I don't think that's the play right now just because of how squishy Old Man Logan is going to be. Sure, Nightcrawler would be able to get him speed bar, but once again, like say you put Skrull with Old Man Logan and Nightcrawler in here, well, you're going to get Caballed. So if you just put too many eggs in one basket, you know, they have that Master Key in Cabal that you do need to worry about. As far as other things go in this room, like Vol, I guess, or I guess that's it. Yeah, I don't know. It's just not, it doesn't appeal to me at all to kind of juice up this room with anything but the Extreme team. All right, then we have Under the Weather. So on turn, clear all negative effects from that character, unless there's trauma, of course. And then on turn end, gain defense down, offense down, slow, and disrupt. So there's 2 different mentalities you can take here, I think. You go with a team like Infinity Watch that's going to not get those debuffs because they have immunity and safeguard, but then you'll find out they do get those debuffs because the debuffs happen at the end of the turn and you lose the safeguard and immunity like at the beginning or from Retaliates or whatever the case may be, right? Or you go with a team that's slower and then a team that'll punish the enemy for getting that defense down, that slow, and that disrupt. Possibly they put their own immunity on themselves at the end of their first turn. Something like Panipool would do that. Something like Forge would do that from the Extreme team, though I do have him over in Stage 3. Or I guess Spider Society would do that as well with the, I believe it is Peter Parker Ultimate, right? So there's a couple options you could put in there that I do think make sense, but I'm going to be going for a team that is slow, but then punishes you for taking a turn. So I'm going in there with Black Knight and Captain America. The reason for this is that's going to kind of dissuade people from hitting it with New Warriors. Because if you hit this with New Warriors, I think you just completely walk over it. If you get past the taunt on the Black Knight, that is, and you get that that offense down rewinds plus trauma onto the Rogue, Gambit, and X-23, then I think you ought to lose. So that's why Captain America is there. And then Gambit is kind of going to be enabling people. So let's say Big Time Spider-Man comes in here because they need the guaranteed strip of the Black Knight. Well, he strips the Black Knight, but then he gets defense down, and Gambit pings the hell out of him, the ever-living hell out of him, right? And then maybe that's going to activate the X-23. Or they're going to go in there with, like, Big Time, and they're going to go in there with other fast characters, maybe some Eternals, whatever the case may be, and they don't get the auto-kill, and like Gambit is getting that speed bar. They all have defense down. He does the special. He gives speed up to Rogue and to X-23. He hit into defense down, so he's gotten a bunch of people low. Rogue is unavoidable, so if they have Tangled Web, maybe that works there. This is kind of like a crapshoot team. I don't think this is going to hold by any stretch of the imagination, but I wanted to split up my Extreme and my Unlimited for now, and I didn't want to put Black Knight with Superior 6 in the next room. And so let's talk about the next room then. So I'll be back room. Villains on spawn gain revive once at 50% max health. Well, we quickly discovered that Black Cat, unlike in War, where she doesn't strip the revives because that happens after the spawn, she does in Crucible. That was a fun little thing to figure out on the playtest. It rips through Superior 6. Superior 6 used to be getting defense up on spawn, not last season, but the 2 seasons before that. And so they felt better on defense than they actually are, because they had Safeguard and they had defense up. They don't anymore. And they get absolutely shredded. They get ripped to pieces because they are so easy to get ahead of. The second, they don't have a Lizard on there, or the second you're not bringing in an immunity, they just need to go before your Goblin, and that's it. And it's over. And there's lots of options to get that done now. I struggled with the idea of putting, like, the Mercs from Money team up there with the Superior Knights team, so that is the Superior 6 with Black Knight, and then putting a Skrull team in Stage 6, which we're going to talk about in a second. But I just don't think that's going to hold. It didn't in the tournament, so it's definitely not going to hold against the type of opponents I face on the regular. The kind of people that have, like, Crimson everything, and I have, teal gear on that team. I just don't think it's going to fly very, very well. So I'm going to keep it offensive, and I don't mind being super offensive heavy for now because I don't have that Old Man Logan kind of fleshed out yet. And I think that's going to be a big deciding factor in how this season goes is after the Old Man Logan bug was fixed, how potent is he? And you're definitely going to want him in the middle there to make sure if he's getting hit, he's going to get that 20% speed right now. We keep going back there because he's going to be kind of the determining factor in this Crucible season for a lot of people. Him and, if your opponents don't realize they could use Lizard New Way against Spider Society, that's going to be a wrench in a lot of people's game plan. But I'm going with the Secret Defender team with Emma and Morgan. This, again, is just kind of a nice little New Warrior counter. I don't think New Warrior is going to be the go-to team here anymore, though. So I might start beefing up this team. I might consolidate my X-Men team and throw Black Knight over here and replace the Emma with Photon and the Morgan with Black Knight. I don't hate the Secret Defenders here. I think they're good. I could also see a world where Secret Defenders, you kind of save them for the offensive side, and maybe you put Robbie Reyes over here with Old Man Logan. Again, everything's going to kind of go around with Old Man Logan this season. But for now, I'm going with this. I'll let you know a little bit of behind the scenes. On the Big Boy account, the J2D account, we unlocked Mephisto yesterday. So I might have something a little bit different on defense on that account because I can't afford it, because I'm either going to put Mephisto on defense to beef some team up, or I'll put him on the offensive side, and then I could be a little bit more loosey-goosey with my Skrull. And that changes everything, right? But the people I face will also have Mephisto, so it's kind of it's just a new equation added to the balancing act. But this is what I'm going with for now. And then Stage 6, I think this is a really powerful team to go for Stage 6. Okay, so it's after using an ultimate ability, spread all positive effects to adjacent allies. Ultimate abilities cost 2 less ability energy. So this is going to be like your ult in turn 1 with characters like Skrull, characters like Quicksilver, Apocalypse, no, sorry, not Apocalypse, Thanos, that sort of thing. But I'm keeping it very simple. So just like on the playtest tournament, I'm just going here with Infinity Watch Quicksilver. This just doesn't tax my offense at all, and it's going to guarantee that Nebula is giving speed up and immunity to that Quicksilver, which is going to kind of stop people from trying to get in here with a budgetary counter. They come in here with like War Dogs, and all of a sudden Nebula juices up the Quicksilver. He starts annihilating people. I've seen people try that before. Or they come in here with like a Nova to try and stun the Quicksilver, but all of a sudden, or Tangled Web for that matter, but all of a sudden, you know, the Nebula went ahead and gave him speed up and immunity, and all of a sudden they can't stun anymore, right? So I think there's an interesting play to be had there. It's just going to kind of catch people off guard. But once I have a bigger Old Man Logan, I'm going to be doing something different with Stage 6. Stage 6 is just, it's too interesting to pass up because it does do that offense up turn 1. Now, a Skrull team that I really, really like, even without the raid rooms, is this Hive Mind team. So we have the 2 heroes, we got the 2 villains, and Skrull is going to be ulting turn 1. The reason this is an acceptable case is because normally in this room, if you had Skrull and he's going to ult, people would just go in there with Apocalypse Doom. And then the Apocalypse gives Doom health, Doom gets pushed but he doesn't die, and then Apocalypse comes and kills everybody. But here, when Skrull pops, if your opponent makes even one small mistake and you push the Doom plus one other person, and these Hive Mind characters get that speed bar, they will run over you. I've had it happen to me when you try and do like the old school, what was it? It was like Red Guardian, Eternals, Emma, Apocalypse team. That used to work really good against enemy Skrull teams that weren't Secret Defenders, but Hive Mind has kind of stepped in there, and they're a little bit sneaky because you never really know the Skrull critting, dropping somebody at 30%, activating Hive Mind, and they just go absolutely nuts. You never know when that's going to happen. So this is a team that I like as well for the defensive side, but not until I have that Old Man Logan, because if I'm going to have the Skrull Hive Mind team, that's going to easily get cabaled, and then I think my baby Mercs for Money team would get rocked by something else. So until I have my Mercs for Mouth, like, online and kicking butt, or Mercs for Money, sorry, I keep calling Mercs for Mouth, until I have them online kicking butt, I'm going to keep this kind of the way it is. But I'm open to the idea of kind of squishing 3 mega teams together, a Mercs for Mouth hybrid, with the regular Extreme team, a Black Knight, Secret Defender, kind of juiced up team, and then a Skrull team. Especially on the account where I have the Mephisto, we got a lot more playroom. Anyway, that's kind of what I'm feeling for the beginning of the season, guys. I'll tell you, from the season that I ended up getting rank 1, just going offense at the very beginning was a lot better. And if people go too far defense, they end up kind of hurting themselves a little bit. If you do want to go defensive heavy to start, though, I would suggest kind of having 2 mega teams. 2 teams that are going to pull the Cabal, right? So if you have like a giant Mercs for Money team, and then you put a Skrull up, or if you put a Skrull up plus an Apocalypse up, and then save your Superior 6, because they're just not really holding very good. They're kind of like an offensive-only option, which is kind of weird after the way they came into things. Anyway, I digress. I'm kind of rambling on now. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hey, and if you haven't already, check out Into the AM. I got a lot of amazing stuff that you're going to like. I wear this stuff every day. Super duper comfortable. But as always, stay happy, healthy, have fun, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Oh, and sorry there was no, like, videos that popped up. On the playtest, they got rid of all the replays for some reason. I wanted to show a bunch of the... Let's not show that ever again. I wanted to show like a bunch of the replays, but they're just kind of gone, which is awkward. Anyway, guys, have yourselves a good day, and look forward to some Crucible gameplay being posted probably tonight. We'll probably post our first match right away. Bye-bye. That's it for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Stay happy, healthy, have fun, and I'll see you in the next one.